Techno music plays. Welcome back to our series on the history of technology. Today, we're diving into the third generation of consoles, a time of recovery and the rise of major industry players. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. The third generation began in 1983 in Japan and lasted until the end of the decade. This era was defined by 8-bit consoles, a term referring to the processor's ability to handle 8 bits of data simultaneously, which became a major marketing point. In the United States, the previous generation was shaken by the infamous crash of 1983, caused by an oversaturation of consoles and low-quality games. Not just the infamous ET, many companies went bankrupt, and global pessimism about video games took hold. In Japan, the story was different. With a booming economy, technological innovation, and thriving local companies, Nintendo decided to bet on consoles. On July 15, 1983, Nintendo launched the Famicom in Japan alongside games like Donkey Kong. Designed by Masayuki Uemura, the console introduced innovations like the D-pad, revolutionizing controllers. The name Famicom, short for Family Computer, reflected its goal of appealing to the whole family. Despite initial issues that led to a recall, the console took off after a relaunch. In 1984, Nintendo allowed third-party companies like Namco and Hudson Soft to develop games under strict controls, avoiding the chaos of the previous generation. In 1985, Nintendo released Super Mario Bros., cementing Mario as the biggest icon in gaming. This generation also introduced the Legend of Zelda, Metroid, and RPGs like Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy. Nintendo innovated with accessories like the light gun for Duck Hunt. However, other projects, such as Rob, were less successful and are mainly remembered years later. Interestingly, on July 15, 1983, Sega also entered the market with the SG-1000. Despite upgrades like the Mark III, later rebranded as the Master System, Sega's hardware and game library couldn't surpass the Famicom. In 1985, Nintendo launched the Famicom internationally as the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES, with a more subdued design dominating markets like the United States. Meanwhile, Sega rebranded the Mark III as the Master System in 1986, but still lagged behind Nintendo. By 1988, Nintendo controlled an impressive 83% of the US console market. Atari tried to make a comeback with the Atari 7800, released in 1984. Despite introducing new features, the console couldn't compete with Nintendo and Sega, marking the company's decline in the console market. The third generation marked the industry's recovery after the crash of 1983, and the beginning of a golden era for franchises that still shape gaming today. Which game or console from this era left its mark on you? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to keep following this journey through the history of video games.